Steel City. Is everybody ready to go? It's proclaimed the greatest radio show.
Welcome, fans, to another episode of The Spread. I'm your host, Jim Sella, in studio with Jay Dash. We got our Corked segment for you today. We're going to talk about the Blue Jays. They're only one game over 500, and they're in third place in the AL East. But, man, they went all in. They picked up Troy Tulowitzki and David Price right before the trade deadline.
Please believe the two biggest deals of the trade season, and they both go to the Blue Jays. I believe they are the big winners here. But they're 6 games behind the Yankees right now. Like you said, they're sitting just above 500, but they are only 3 games out of the wild card, so they definitely have a chance to get into the playoffs still.
You know why they still have a chance?
Why?
My boy Russ Martin.
Russell Martin, he's having a pretty good season, although his bat has slowed down over the past month or so. But the Blue Jays was one of the 2 teams in the American League that I was actually high on coming into the season. The other team being Boston, who is just terrible. They lost their quote-unquote ace in Clay Buchholz.
Hashtag Boston gone.
Yeah, Boston's just terrible this season. I mean, Hanley hasn't got it done. Pablo hasn't got it done. Mookie Betts just went to the 7-day DL due to a concussion. Buchholz is hurt. Eduardo Rodriguez looks like their best pitcher, and he's tipping pitches every other start. So they have a lot of problems right now. But the Blue Jays...
Is Pete Rose betting on those games?
Probably. He's allowed to bet now, right? But the Blue Jays bringing in Tulowitzki only helps. I mean, this offense had the most runs scored in baseball already with 543 through 103 games.
Only team averaging over 5 runs a game.
Yeah. Well, no, the Yankees do, correct?
They were just under the last time we looked.
Okay. So, yeah, they were already one of the best offenses. And it's not like Jose Reyes was a bad shortstop or anything, but he was getting paid a lot of money, too. And Troy Tulowitzki is definitely the better player. His contract, he signed through 2020 with a team option in 2021. He signed a 6-year, $118 million deal. If the option goes through, 7 years, $134 million.
I got 2 questions for you about Tulowitzki. Was he a product of Coors Field? And can his knee hold up on that turf up in Toronto?
Well, we'll have to see about the turf question. I mean, I can't really answer that. I have no clue. I mean, I would guess he'd be okay up there. It's not like his knees are so bad that it's kept him out of games this season, so he should be able to hold up okay. About the Coors Field thing, I mean, it definitely helped. He hit a ton of home runs in very little at-bats last season. But you got to remember, too, Toronto is a huge hitter's park as well. And, I mean, he came over. His first game, he went 3 for 5 with a jack, 3 RBIs, and 3 runs. So it didn't look to affect him, at least immediately. But his second game, he went 0 for 3 with a run.
Oh, his knee's bad. He's beat. Yeah. If he was a Pirate, we'd be putting him at first base.
But look, on the season, he's hitting .302 with a .350 on base, 13 jacks, 21 doubles, 56 ribbies, 50 runs, and 331 at-bats. Now, a lot of people are saying this is a down season for him. So you see how good this guy is when you're saying you're having a down season when you're hitting over 300. The problem is he doesn't have the 25 jacks already like he usually does.
I lied. I got one more question for you. Does Tulowitzki leaving the NL make Gung the best hitting shortstop in the NL?
I already asked my buddy this question because I believed it to be true. But there is also Johnny Peralta who has an argument to say he's the best hitting shortstop in the National League. But really, Jung-Ho Gung, he's the only other guy you could consider at this point. But Tulowitzki, he's been batting leadoff for the Blue Jays so far. That's not something he is used to. Now, their usual leadoff hitter in Devon Travis just got hurt. He just got placed on a DL. In fact, he was already on a DL earlier this year. This guy's a rookie. That second base rookie I was talking about going into the season I really liked, and he's having a good season when healthy. But if he can return sometime soon, I expect Tulo to be moved back down towards 3 or 4 in the lineup because this is a premier home run hitter.
It's a strange place for him in the lineup.
Yeah, first.
Do they maybe just not want to mix everything up until they get their full regiment of healthy players and then wait to do it? Is that why?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Once Devon Travis comes back, I expect him to take over the leadoff spot, and then that would move Tulowitzki back a couple spots. I mean, he could bat second in the order, though. There's no problem with that either. But, I mean, you look at this offense, man. Like you said, you got Russell Martin, a catcher. I think he has something like 15 home runs this year. Although his average has dropped down in the 260s as of late. Then at first base, I mean, Edwin Encarnacion is a very good hitter. Now, he's not the best fielder, and I think he only played 50 games at first for the Blue Jays this season. They got Justin Smoke to play some first base for him, and that Chris Colabello plays some first place as well, although he plays outfield as well. Second base, like I said, that Devon Travis, that rookie, he was having a good season, got injured, hurt his shoulder, came back, and he was playing very well again and just aggravated his shoulder. So he went down. Now they got Ryan Goins filling in. He's not quite as good of a hitter. So once they get Travis back, it's really going to help. And Josh Donaldson at third base, he's one of the premier home run hitters in baseball. In fact, he was in the home run derby, and he was my top AL third baseman coming into the season. Adding Troy Tulowitzki, a shortstop, obviously. I mean, look at that. Martin, Encarnacion, Travis, Donaldson, Tulowitzki. I don't think you can get a better infield than that. Actually, yesterday I was looking at their outfield and was saying, they're okay. I mean, you got Jose Bautista, obviously, who's a very good hitter. And Kevin Pillar's having a good season, and so is Danny Valencia. But I felt that could be upgraded, and they just dealt for Ben Revere today for 2 minor league pitchers. And Ben Revere is a guy I really like. He has a lot of range in the outfield. Now, his arm isn't very strong, but he usually hits around 300 for you. He has a ton of speed on the base pass, and he doesn't strike out hardly at all. The one problem he has is his on-base percentage usually isn't very high because he doesn't take many walks. So he's not the traditional leadoff hitter you want to see, but he could actually end up batting leadoff until Devon Travis gets back. But usually at DH they mix it up. It's either Bautista or Encarnacion, or even Russell Martin DHs sometimes as well.
Give his knees a rest.
Please believe.
Old bastard.
They also brought in LaTroy Hawkins in the Tulo deal. Now, this is a pretty good reliever. He's already announced that he is going to retire after the season. I think he's, 40-some years old, 47?
He's been around for a while.
So that's just going to help him in the bullpen a little bit. Now, like I said, they gave up Jose Reyes for him, who was probably still a top 4, top 5 shortstop in baseball. And they gave up one of their best prospect starting pitchers in Jeff Hoffman. They gave up a big-time reliever in Miguel Castro, who was already closing for Toronto at one point this season, although he faltered. But this guy has huge upside. And then they added another pitcher in the deal as well, another prospect pitcher. But that Jeff Hoffman looks like he's going to be a good pitcher. Miguel Castro is a good reliever, and you got Jose Reyes. So I believe Colorado did a good job in this deal as well. And then you got the pitching staff. Now, the pitching is nothing like the offense. They have not been good this season. 12th most runs allowed in the AL alone, with 440 runs allowed. And you look at their starting pitchers. You got Drew Hutchison. He is 9-2, but he also has a 5.42 ERA. Now, people came into the season believing this guy was going to have a real good season. He's a young pitcher. He had a pretty decent season last year, but he just hasn't got it done for him. And then you got Mark Burley, who actually had 11 straight quality starts before getting hit up a little bit in his last start. So he's having a pretty good season for him. He has a 3.29 ERA right now. R.A. Dickey is nothing like his. Did he win the Cy Young that year?
He did win the Cy Young
that
year.
Isn't he a knuckleballer?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't count on them to be consistently good.
The year he blew up and won the Cy Young, I mean, that was a surprise year to me. This 4.27 ERA right now really isn't a surprise to me. I think this is the kind of pitcher R.A. Dickey really is.
I always thought he was overrated, even with that big year that he had.
Please believe. And then Marco Estrada, I mean, he's pitching all right, a 3.53 ERA. So you're adding David Price to this rotation then. This is a guy, he's just a rental. He's owed another $19.75 million this season. He's going to be a free agent after the year. Now, the Blue Jays, they gave up their team's top prospect and starting pitcher, Daniel Norris, along with 2 other lefty arms. But Daniel Norris, I mean, a lot of people are saying he's one of the top pitchers in baseball. I really don't believe that. I mean, I think he's a decent pitcher, but they have Aaron Sanchez, who is already in their bullpen, and he was a better prospect when he was in the minors. He's still young as well. I think them keeping Aaron Sanchez in their back pocket for future seasons as a starter really helps them long term. They didn't have to get rid of Aaron Sanchez, and all these guys they got rid of in the Tulo deal, this Jeff Hoffman, and in the David Price deal, like I said, Daniel Norris. I think neither one of these guys are as good as Aaron Sanchez. So really, to me, Toronto kept their best young pitching prospect anyways.
I was going to say, I mean, if they have a legit shot at keeping Price around, it might be worth it, you know?
Yeah,
I mean, they're definitely all in.
They are all in. I'm not so sure they're going to try to sign David Price after the season. But right now, I mean, this was the biggest addition they made. I know Tulo may be a little bit bigger of a name, but David Price, I mean, you look at this rotation that I just said, they didn't have a number one ace-type starter. And really, if they don't beat out the Yankees for this division, they're going to have a one-game wild card. And would you rather have Drew Hutchison or Mark Burley pitching that game, or would you rather have David Price pitching that game? That gives you a lot better chance to win that one game, and then you can go into a series and see how far you can make it. But Price this season, a 2.53 ERA, a 1.11 WHIP, 138 Ks compared to just 29 walks and 146 innings. Not too many hits, just 133. Opponents hitting just 241 off him, so he is pitching like an ace this season.
I was shocked to see Detroit move on so quick. They still have a core there that could win games, and they're struggle a little bit, and they just blow it up.
It was a little surprising, but all these guys are getting rid of, like David Price and Joaquin Soria and Yoenis Cespedes. They're all in the last year of their deal, so they knew they weren't going to re-sign these guys. They're going to retool next season, and it's not like they totally sold out. I mean, they still have Ian Kinsler. They still have Miguel Cabrera, obviously. So
JD Martinez.
Yes. So they still have a good core there. But Price's last start for Detroit was against his former team now, Tampa Bay, and he got lit up. 6 innings pitched, 5 earned runs, 7 hits, 2 walks, and 4 Ks. Took his 4th loss of the season, moving him to 9-4.
He felt bad. He just wanted to let them win because they're garbage.
Tampa Bay isn't that bad. I mean, they stayed in it for a pretty long time. If it wasn't for the Yankees right now, they'd be right in the mix with everyone else. I mean, they are in the mix with Baltimore and Toronto still.
Close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades.
But like I said,
Hand grenades.
this David Price move really, really helps Toronto because, like I said, they already had the best offense. They added to it Tulowitzki, but that one-game playoff is what most likely is going to happen if they do make the playoffs. David Price is going to help get them to the playoffs, and David Price is going to be starting that wild card game if they do make the wild card and don't overtake the Yankees.
Yeah, it's been a weird division. The Yankees have kind of been up and down this year, so you never really know what can happen. There's still enough time left that the Blue Jays could catch them.
Well, yeah, I mean, you look at the Yankees, they added Dustin Ackley, and they're calling up Luis Severino. So there is their 2 adds, pretty much. And really, they lost Michael Pineda. He went down to the DL. And A-Rod got to keep hitting, and Teixeira got to keep hitting. If those 2 don't keep hitting, I don't know. This team definitely could drop off because I don't like the rotation to begin with. And without Pineda, it's only Tanaka. Yeah, that's it.
So if they make the playoffs, can we say that A-Rod put the team on his back, though?
Well, yeah, I mean, we'll have to see how it plays out. I mean, if he falls off and they make the playoffs, I would say no.
Well, if he hits 30 jacks and bats 260...
Right now, it looks like he's going to bat over 260, but he could fall off a little bit. There for a while, he was starting to hit the home runs again, but that's it. But it was a lot of home runs, so it really made up for the low batting average at the time. But, I mean, he's still hitting in the 270s somewhere.
All right, so Blue Jays or Yankees, who's going to win the division?
Boston. No, I'm done with the Boston pick. They're donezo. Well, I'm going to say the Blue Jays just because I don't want the Yankees to win anything. I never do. So I'm going to say the Blue Jays. I mean, if I look at these rosters, man, I have to say the Blue Jays have a better roster. But when you're 6 games back, I mean, it's hard not to say the Yankees. I mean, you got a 6-game lead right now.
47?
I'm going to have to stay with New York on this one. As much as I don't like the Yankees at all, I mean, they've overcome adversity this year. They're actually surprising the hell out of me right now. I mean, A-Rod's playing better than what anybody could have ever imagined.
I think one of the hosts on this show picked him to win the division. I don't remember what his
here we
name
go
was.
again.
I think it was, me, this guy.
Yeah, we'll see. You keep talking yourself up. We'll see.
But
And let's not forget, Baltimore's right in here, too.
Baltimore
In fact,
doesn't count.
Baltimore's ahead of the Blue Jays still, I
Block
believe.
show Walter.
So, and they made some ads here at the deadline. So it's not like Baltimore's out of it at all either.
A-Rod's going to get 30. Yankees are going to win the division. It's going to make me look good.
And we'll see.
Fans, if you don't like something we said, hit us up on Twitter at bet_the_spread. If you do like something we said, hit me up on Twitter at betjimthewin. Check out our Facebook page at facebook.com/betthespread. Like us there, like our YouTube channel, subscribe to our YouTube channel, whatever you can click on there that's positive.